Welcome to the science video at healthyseniorlighting.com. This is a very brief overview. You'll probably want to spend some time, if you're interested, and go into the in-depth podcast, which covers things a little bit more, significantly more in-depth. This is going to be a quick down and dirty on how lighting affects human physiology and why you need to be aware of the type of light you're exposed to and the time of light that you're exposed to that type of light. So, since the dawn of time, our active, productive light source was daylight. When we were going to sleep, we were looking at fire. That was our artificial light source. About 135 years ago, we came up with electric light. It was incandescent, typically had the same spectrum of fire. Then we had fluorescents. Fluorescents don't have the same spectrum, but they still don't have any daylight in them. So when you're in those environments, your body thinks it's nighttime. Your body produces different chemicals at night than it does during the day. Your sleep runs in 90-minute cycles. When it sees the spectrum of daylight, when it sees the color blue that's in daylight, what does it do? It suppresses melatonin. Some studies show it's more effective than caffeine in keeping you awake. You get alert, awake, alive, produces cortisol, serotonin, all these other chemical reactions happen in your body. What happens when it doesn't see that? It produces melatonin. You may have heard of melatonin, that it triggers sleep, and that's exactly what happens. It triggers sleep. Doesn't keep you asleep, but it triggers sleep. So how are you going to get to sleep when you're looking at your phone? Yes, 3 sources have that blue light. Daylight, our active, productive light source since the dawn of time, specially configured LEDs, or those screens you're looking at. Could be a TV, could be your phone. You need to pull that blue light out of there. So there are filters that you can use inside of both Droids and Apples to pull that light out. You need to make sure you do that because you're waking up your body. When you see that blue light, your body thinks it's daytime. It produces those chemicals that keep you awake, and finally you fall asleep from exhaustion, not from your natural sleep-wake cycle. So then you don't get that deep restorative sleep, and when you wake up, what happens? You crave carbs and caffeine. So that sleep, that deep restorative sleep, is divided into segments. Now there's obviously overlap, and this makes total intuitive sense. You'll get this. They run in 90-minute cycles. The deepest part of that cycle is called delta sleep, and that's typically where everything good happens in your body. The first one is just relaxation. The second 90 minutes, you get most of your muscle repair. The third 90 minutes is your disease-fighting cells, your T cells, TH cells, N killer cells. You control your blood pressure, your heart rate, your fat metabolization. All that is done in that third cycle. Fourth and fifth are primarily neurologic. Your brain is deconstructing short-term memories, making long-term memories. When that happens, these compounds are created. Different chemical reactions happen in your brain. Your brain actually shrinks 8% during that fourth cycle. Spinal fluid comes in to fill the gap. When it comes in to fill the gap, these processes continue to happen. When you wake up and your brain expands back, it flushes out chemicals and compounds, beta amyloid protein plaques, beta amyloid proteins that are created during that time. When you don't get that deep restorative sleep, when you look at that blue light before you go to bed, what happens? You don't get these deep cycles. You get these little stumpy things. You don't have the melatonin that's there to make sure you are able to fall back asleep quickly. So make sure you're controlling your light exposure, giving yourself blue light during the day and blue enriched light during the day and very little or no blue light at night. So that's the basic science behind it. If you want to get the full story, make sure you watch the podcast. It'll be worth your time if you're interested in the details. Thanks again for watching, and take care of us at healthyseniorlighting.com.